Dynasty the king.
It is very, very rare, but it does often happen where a player, or a former player, I should say, in the booth does more to damage a player's value than what the player themselves does on the field. After a horrid Thursday Night Football matchup, the biggest fantasy storyline is, to me, Steve Smith absolutely taking out a body bag and stuffing Jerry Jeudy into it before the game. And Jerry Jeudy had an opportunity to get out of it, and really the Broncos as a whole looked dead. Jerry Jeudy, another disappointing performance. Dylan, I want to go to you here because you were kind of the biggest Jerry Jeudy fan in the offseason. Mahomes had kind of an off night for fantasy. The Chiefs looked dominant in their win. They looked always in control, but it was a stinker of a game. Steve Smith's comments, what were your thoughts? Do you agree at this point that Jerry Jeudy is just a guy?
Yeah, I mean, there's no arguing that. I mean, he hasn't proven anything. He hasn't proven that he can stay healthy. He hasn't proven that he can catch the ball consistently. He hasn't proven that he can get open. So, yeah, he hasn't proven anything. And I think Steve Smith putting him in his place after what he said to Steve Smith initially, I love that. I love that Steve Smith didn't back down. And then he put him on blast in front of America. I love that. That's juice right there. I love that.
So how far is Jerry Jeudy going to fall and keep Jay cut? I mean, is there really going to be...
Can he really fall anymore? I mean, he has to be in the gutter.
Do you think there's actually going to be like an impact, though, on his value from tonight in Steve Smith or just from his terrible performance on the field?
Here's what I would say. Good luck putting him in a trade right now. Because even if his keep trade cut value doesn't fall that much because he is an afterthought, now you have a viral clip that people are all going to be aware of. But Dylan, I didn't even know, what did Jerry Jeudy actually say to Steve Smith beforehand? I only saw Steve Smith just burying him mid-game, and that was kind of the most entertaining thing about the game for me. So I kind of focused on that.
At first, Steve Smith said it before he started his whole roast and rant. He said that he was going to apologize to Jerry Jeudy because he had already kind of trashed him like in the past. And he was actually going to apologize to Judy. And I guess they had some interaction on the field where he was going to talk to Judy. And Judy was like, this is Steve Smith's words. He said, "Ninja, I don't F with you." And so, and so from there, that's where Steve Smith was like, I was going to apologize, but like, after I heard that, and then he went on his whole rant of like, when teams go to trade with it, he just roasted him.
And then after that, Jerry Jeudy, during the pregame warmups, continued to come behind Steve Smith, and as they were recording, and is literally behind and is yelling and is dancing behind and is like literally making a scene. So it became this whole thing, and like, so America's watching.
I do want to say something though, and this translates to football. And so I should have read the tea leaves in the offseason. I was super high on Jerry Jeudy. You're right. I traded him. He was passed around. He was homie hopping for sure in our league
5 times,
like a lot, which we can go into. But there's something about a player where, like, obviously he was a round 1 talent coming out, right? He was a stud at Alabama, came out, everyone expected high hopes, couldn't stay healthy. But then not only could he not stay healthy, there wasn't an emphasis to get him involved in the offense. And to me, that shows that there's a disconnect, whether it's an attitude issue or whatever, and him just kind of doing what he did tonight just shows, like, and Steve Smith said this, like, he's a head case. Like, he cannot take constructive feedback. And so seeing that with players, if there's indication that they're not getting involved in offenses or something, I think that, like, that should be, you should read the tea leaves there and say, like, he was a round 1 pick and they're not trying to get him involved. There's something going on there.
Yeah, you would think in a game where you're trailing by 2 scores almost the entire game, similar to how we talked about CeeDee Lamb, you're going to see them open it up. You're going to see a lot more passing volume. Russell Wilson looked atrocious. The way they used him looked atrocious. Davis, I want to ask you, you are the resident Patrick Mahomes owner. You would hope that a challenger brings out the best in Mahomes. He still had 300 passing yards, but I believe he only had 1 touchdown. Another disappointing performance from Mahomes. They've got to play the Broncos again. It feels like the Chiefs are winning by ball control, and they don't have many opponents to get into a boat race with. How disappointed were you? And 2, are you concerned not about Mahomes' like future value, but for this season being a team trying to claim the ship? Is he going to be able to get you over the hump in those high-scoring games you'll be involved in down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean, coming off a QB1 season last year where he was the overall QB1, that's what you would hope and expect, especially as a contender. I'm like, okay, I'm going to need Pat Mahomes at some point to win me some weeks. But you're not getting that this year. Yeah, just kind of like to your point, they are playing ball control. I think that they are starting to trust Pacheco more, which is helping his value. But in turn, they have a good defense this year, so they're not having to play in shootouts. There's only been 1 week this season that we've seen Pat Mahomes above a QB5. So the ceiling right now, it does not feel like it's there. I mean, I'm not going to go sit Pat Mahomes. I'm not an idiot. But from a dynasty standpoint, I was honestly thinking through this. I'm like, right now, I'd rather have Josh Allen. Like, I think Josh Allen might be the dynasty QB1. From a contract standpoint, from a situation standpoint, but just his ability to time and time again produce and win you weeks. So I'm curious on like your thoughts, Dylan. I know that, being a Red Raider and all, you love yourself some Patrick Mahomes. Is that crazy that I would take Josh Allen over him right now in Dynasty?
I wouldn't say it's crazy. I would say it's, for anyone, it's a toss-up. You can have Patrick Mahomes, obviously, yes, being a Red Raider, seeing who he is. I still believe in Patrick Mahomes' a talent as the most elite quarterback in the NFL. But you can argue for a Josh Allen and a Jalen Hurts. I would actually argue Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen because of the age, and then B, the talent around him. Like, he has Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert attached to that offense, and they're not going anywhere. Whereas Josh Allen has Stephon Diggs. That's great, but Stephon Diggs is 30 years old, and there's nothing else around them. There's a spontaneous appearance of Gabe Davis every now and then. But to me, Patrick Mahomes is still the quarterback one overall. I don't see any argument. Josh, do you see anything different there?
No, I would say that.
Homer?
No, here's the thing. Like, do I think Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, also Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow? Let me make the statement. All those guys, I believe I would rather have in a redraft league the rest of the year because I think they're going to be in higher scoring opportunities. The reality is Mahomes wants to win games. He wants to win championships. The reason Mahomes is always the dynasty QB1 is because when he plays, he elevates all the weapons around him. You're seeing Rashee Rice. He didn't have a crazy game in the box score. You're seeing him grow as a player. Jerick McKinnon was a fantasy asset that was dead. He comes to the Chiefs, and somehow Mahomes and Andy Reid find a way to squeeze value out of him. When you look at like Tom Brady's career and you take like the 10 years, yeah, there's going to be a QB 14 finish. And I don't think Mahomes will ever fall that low. But you get 10 years of like, I don't have to check my lineup, like you said, Davis. Like, you're not going to take Mahomes out of it. So, yes, you're going to sacrifice some short-term upside. But listen, his first contract extension was 10 years. Do you think the Chiefs are going to extend him for anything less than 5 additional years? Like, yeah. I'll ask this, Davis. I want to go to you, but you are known for the big splash trade. Knowing that he is that bedrock foundation, what would it take to come get him? I mean, once again, I have 8 firsts in 25. I've got 1 in 24. Is there a package I could put together with Fields for you to really championship chase this year?
Yeah, put together 9 firsts in Justin Fields, and I think we will get the deal done.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's just move along. No, but to be honest, I've considered if I don't win this year, and if I have another heartbreak, mind you, I want to remind the listeners I've lost twice in the championship out of 3 years. It's heartbreaking, but I'm going after this year, and I'm committed to winning. If I don't win this year, I just might be in complete shambles, and there might be a buy window that does open up for Pat Mahomes, and it might allow me to liquidate and start over. So no, as of right now, no, I'm not going to sell him because at the end of the day, he's one of the few players in fantasy football that does present the upside to win a week. It's just he's not scoring touchdowns. And to be honest, it's frustrating as a Patrick Mahomes owner in Dynasty just to see that they did not go get him any weapons this year. Like, just imagine if they went and got D-Hop. And imagine if he was throwing the ball to D-Hop. So you see him throwing to the skeleton of Sky Moore, who I remember in the preseason, he was amazing. And Sky
I was
Moore,
so high on him.
He's going to have a breakout. You were high on him. A lot of people were.
Yeah.
Woof. Kadarius Toney. No. Valdez Scantling, Justin Watson. I mean, all of these different players. And I do like Rashee Rice. I think he's starting to come along, but they did not really go and make a splash and get a veteran presence to help him. And it was great to see Travis Kelce out there. I will say that, and I do want to talk about Travis Kelce, but it's just a little frustrating and it's a little disheartening. I think that them not getting him those weapons has contributed to him not being as effective this year.
I wouldn't rule out the Chiefs going and making a move before the trade deadline. I really can see them going and making a move. I think they have the cap space to go get like a T. Higgins. They could make a big splash trade. but I think they got to do something. Even if it's not that major, they got to do something. They can't just rely on Kelce. Kelce's already hobbled.
Jerry Jeudy, right?
Stop.
So Jerry Jeudy, right? They're going to bring Jerry Jeudy into the house.
I think they've learned their lesson there.
Yeah. No,
he had a bad tryout tonight.
Oh my gosh, dude. Well, that whole offense, I mean, it was good to see Javonte Williams back. He continues to prove that he heals like Wolverine. Because I will say, while he didn't have a great day in the box score, I do a little bit of, I don't call it gambling. I play games for money. I took the under on his rushing yards because I was like, no, he just had a quad injury. He was missing practice earlier in the week at times. Like, he goes out there and they're running the ball well with him. Jaleel McLaughlin running the ball well with him. That offense as a whole looked anemic. Like, all they could do was pick up 4 yards a carry, and then Russ would scramble out to the right or left. Everyone would be covered, and Russ's legs were just gone. So, speaking to just Mahomes' health and long-term stuff, like stability, the reason he's the QB1, you took a guy like Russell Wilson, who you think is a first-round Hall of Famer, he's ruining a franchise. If the Chiefs at the trade deadline re-added Juju Smith-Schuster, everyone, like Juju Smith-Schuster, would go from dead in dynasty value on the Patriots to right back up to a relevant wide receiver 3. So that's where I think Mahomes is safe. The Chiefs, listen, they're a little bit more boring this year. If you want fireworks, watch the Dolphins. But whatever you do, avert your eyes from the Broncos. I think that's the biggest takeaway we can have. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about a couple different situations that you need to be paying attention to. Are you all aboard or overboard as the season goes on and player values continue to change? Well, Travis Kelce this offseason was busy dating the most famous woman in the world. A young, up-and-coming Iowa tight end who was a rookie decided to put his hard hat on and get to work. And it showed up in Keep Trade Cut. We're jumping in to all aboard and overboard and coming fresh off a performance. This was Travis Kelce, in my opinion's best performance of the season so far. He started the season injured. It's good to have him back. 9 for 124, key to the offense. But in Keep Trade Cut, Sam LaPorta is currently the tight end 1. He's a player we've talked about, I don't want to say exhaustively on the show, but he's someone that continues to impress and surprise. He's in the news for what he's doing on the field. Travis Kelce has been in the news for who he's dating off the field. What's more valuable? I'm not entirely sure. But here's the all aboard overboard. Sam LaPorta is the tight end to own, not just for Dynasty, but for the rest of the fantasy season. All aboard or overboard. Davis, you own Travis Kelce in the Yacht Club. He was someone you sought to get from me all last season. How does it feel knowing that, right away his shine has been stolen because he's distracted?
It is absolutely disrespectful. The man is still the tight end GOAT, and he is going to forever reign forevermore. Because he is the tight end 1, and he's going to be the tight end 1 until he decides to retire. And you were just talking about it, Josh. You're talking about an elite player that has chemistry with his quarterback, and his quarterback just so happens to be Patrick Mahomes. They are in unison, and Patrick Mahomes makes him better, and he makes Patrick Mahomes better. And the fact that he's doing this on a gimpy leg, he had a bad knee, and then he twisted his ankle, literally is playing on, from what they said, I think a high ankle sprain, and then they corrected it and said low ankle. But he's playing through it, and here's what you can't replace, and here's the reason why he's tight end 1, and the reason why you want him the rest of the season. 9 targets, 8 targets, 9 targets, 11 targets, 9 targets. That he is being peppered with targets because they don't have any other weapons on that team. So, no, I'm overboard that Sam LaPorta is the tight end you want to have the rest of the season. Although I do see a reason why the fantasy community and how reactionary that we are has him as the tight end 1. Because, I mean, he's been having a historic season. But come on now. Let's not disrespect Travis Kelce. Let's give the man his flowers while he's still playing.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I don't know what in the world is going on. All you tic-tackers out there saying that Taylor Swift put Kelce on the map. Go have Taylor Swift, take her back, because
did you say tic-tacker or tic-tacker?
No, tic-tackers, the tic-tackers, the TikTokers, whatever, Instagrammers, the wives that are out there trying to prank their husband. I'm not with the culture, okay? TikTok. I don't even have TikTok.
I need to pause for some context here. People don't realize Dylan is a 55-year-old Texan. Like, he is an angry old man on a porch. And he might also be a bit of a Chappelle skit, if you catch my reference. Dylan is like that. So he's genuinely offended at social media. Like, he's saying tic-tackers like this. You dadgum tic-tackers ruining our generation with your social medias and your Taylor Swift. I like good, hard-nosed Red Raider football. Continue, Dylan.
No, yeah, I mean, the reality is I don't understand what's going on and how Sam LaPorta, I get it. Sam LaPorta has been great. He's produced on the field. He's looked really good as a rookie tight end, which we never see. But to put him over Travis Kelce, that is just disrespectful. Like, there's a Swiftie discount on Kelce right now, and if anyone actually thinks that Sam LaPorta or has surpassed Travis Kelce, or Travis Kelce's value has been suppressed at all, please go and buy him, because he is the tight end GOAT. Like Davis said, I 100% agree. He is the tight end one and will continue to be that, because there are no other options on that offense. There are absolutely no other options. So as long as that's the case, I'm definitely taking Kelce as a tight end one. And even if they do add someone, that helps Kelce. So I think he's the tight end one. Josh, do you agree, or were you going to make this a trifecta or what?
Man, here's my thing. I think for the rest of the season, I want to say Kelce, but I sent the question to you guys because I didn't have a firm position yet. I wanted kind of to hear what y'all's thoughts were. I think it might be Sam LaPorta.
You're and out of why. Your mind. Oh, no,
let me listen. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm gonna be overboard simply to provide a different sense of dialogue. Travis Kelce is experiencing incredible success off the field. He's got the New Heights podcast. Listen, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not trying to say like, hey, I know exactly what he's going to do, but he's got a lot of things going on off the field, and he's old and he's banged up. Sam LaPorta is overachieving, and he's overachieving on a hungrier, more efficient offense. I actually like the Lions offense this year more than I like the Chiefs, at least from what I've seen. And so if you're going to have more scoring opportunities and you have a younger player who's fixed up, yeah, I mean, in Dynasty, let me ask you this, Davis. If someone sent you Sam LaPorta, I think Mike owns him. If Mike sent you Sam LaPorta for Travis Kelce straight up, would you not be tempted to accept that offer?
Not even for a second. Not even for a split second. No. Now, do I regret trading Sam LaPorta away for Jimmy Garoppolo and Aiden O'Connell? Yes, but I'm not an idiot to where I'm going to go take Sam LaPorta for Travis Kelce. Here's the difference, Josh. And I get what you're saying. I get the off the field distractions. The man still is going to put up numbers daily. Yeah. He's still going to put up numbers on and off the field in the ratings with all of America as he and Taylor Swift take over the world. But the thing about LaPorta is he's not going to be getting peppered with the consistent 10 targets a game. You're going to be hoping that he does score those touchdowns. And yes, I get that it's happened so far. How much can we really bank that he's going to continue to score at this rate for the rest of the season when he's not getting peppered every single game with 10 plus targets? That's my only reasoning no, I'm not. So Mike, please don't insult me and send Sam LaPorta for Travis Kelce.
Full disclosure, I'm with you guys. I'm actually on board. I don't think – no, I just wanted to provide I want to understand where the opposition would be coming from. Sam LaPorta hype has reached critical mass, but the reason I'm really overboard on it is from personal experience. Dylan, you remember this trade, I think the second year of Yacht Club. I had George Kittle, right? And he had been injured all the first season I had him, and I was so sick. He was someone I believed was going to be an elite tight end for years. And then out of nowhere, Dawson Knox comes onto the scene. He's connected to a Josh Allen, and he started the year on fire. He was the tight end 2, and Kelce was having a year that year. So the tight end 2 was very valuable. And I think I sent you George Kittle, a second and a third for Dawson Knox because I wanted to cash in on the new hotness. And that has not aged well at all. Do you remember that trade?
Yeah, I do. I don't know why you did that, but yeah, I'm glad you actually joined us because you were sounding crazy. The dude just went 9 for 124 on one leg. So yeah. Yes, I don't think there's, and granted, this keep trade cut was definitely before tonight's game. I expect it to correct, but
tomorrow morning.
I expect it to correct.
Yeah, I the only thing I will say from a dynasty perspective, I think Kelce could retire at any time. I'm starting to have that concern and belief because what's going on off the field, he has so much he can step into and live a fulfilling life. It's not like he doesn't.
Have you heard him talk about that though?
Football. No, and I'm not saying that he is.
No, I'm saying he said he's going to play until, from what he said this past offseason on his podcast, he's going to play until his body physically says he can't play anymore. So but maybe he's starting to get the injury bug a little bit, but
that's what I'm saying.
He loves football.
No, yeah. For sure. Travis Kelce, he's a player you definitely want to have. And Sam LaPorta, while he's impressive, let's see it for a full season before we crown the man. Speaking of someone who has the crown, someone who unquestionably is, if not the wide receiver one in Dynasty, completely, actually, I think it is almost undisputed. Like Jamar Chase at one point was as high as Justin Jefferson, but Justin Jefferson, from a keep trade cut perspective, and almost anyone you talk to, up until this point, was the wide receiver one in Dynasty. No question. Guys, the Vikings have moved him to IR. Obviously, no one is panic selling him for the entire future. We all still believe in his Dynasty value being very, very high for the next couple of years. Agreed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question I have, because this is where gamesmanship matters, and between the three of us, I think there's quite a bit of gamesmanship. If you're a team pushing for a championship, all aboard overboard, Justin Jefferson doesn't play the rest of the season. If you're pushing for a championship and you were counting on Justin Jefferson, I don't think you have it. I'm just previewing my take. Actually, I'll just say it. I don't think he plays the rest of the season. The man doesn't have a long-term contract with the Vikings yet. The Vikings are 1-4. If you guys remember when Cooper Kupp got injured last year with a hamstring, the Rams were pretty much out of playoff contention. So what was the rush to get him back? I don't think Justin Jefferson comes back, in at least for meaningful fantasy games for the Vikings the rest of the season. Davis, do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I'm not too sure that I'm all aboard that he's not going to play again the rest of the year. And I get that you put it in like context of like meaningful fantasy games, but at the same time, anytime he's going to be on the field, one, you're going to have him in your lineup, and two, he's probably going to be meaningful on your team. My reasoning, and I get that he doesn't have a contract, and I get that we have Cooper Kupp like last year and that they shut him down. Cooper Kupp was 29 at the time. You have Justin Jefferson, who is in the prime of his life right now, the prime of his career. He's 24 years old, and I get he doesn't have the contract, but I think he's going to have I think he's going to come back with a chip on his shoulder and prove to them, like, guys, I'm the reason why I should get this contract. I'm the reason why this offense does run the way that it does. So I don't see him sitting out the rest of the year, especially with like a hamstring injury. We've tended to see that injury generally will last for about 4 to 6 weeks. So I think we'll see him towards fantasy playoffs. So if you're a contender and you can like weather the storm while he's out, I would absolutely hang on to him because he's probably going to end up coming back and he's probably going to win you your championship. But something I do want to touch on, guys, and I've shared publicly on this podcast, is that I've tried to acquire Justin Jefferson multiple times throughout the offseason because I wanted him to be on my team to help me win a championship. And I've offered like 3 firsts plus like 5 different players of like decent value. And that was denied pretty quickly just for the sake of the league. He did not want that player getting on my team. But now he put something in my inbox. He put, I think yesterday, it was Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jordan Addison, and a 25 first to get Justin Jefferson. And guys, I smashed denied that. I smashed denied that though, because, and I get that I just said I think he's going to come back and play at one point, but I don't think it's going to be within the next 6 weeks. So it's like I'm curious. No, it's not worth the risk currently.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious of like your guys' thoughts. And then he actually then brought it down to, he took the first round pick out of it. So it just would have been those 3 wide receivers for Justin Jefferson. And I did think about that one, but I said no at the end of the day. But I'm curious if you guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a bag. That was a very, very generous offer. And we all know the team that you have. I think you could have taken the hit. Like you could have handled it and you would have been fine. But I don't blame you for not taking it. And I think that, Josh, I don't know would you have taken that if you were Davis? I think what I would have done though, I would have probably countered that second offer, and I would have taken one of the wide receivers out and added the 25 first and see if he would have done that.
I did that exact thing.
Tried to keep Addison.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
What you're seeing in real time is that Jefferson's maintaining his value, but the type of buyers he's attractive to is really different. And I think to the gamesmanship piece, Davis, you are chasing a championship. If for whatever reason you trade for Justin Jefferson, even if he comes back in 6 weeks, how worried would you be without the depth of an Olave, without the depth of who else was in there? Was an Addison?
Garrett Wilson and Jordan Addison,
Yeah. If injuries are the concern and you trade for an injured player, now you're one injury away of being in serious trouble. So my question would be, if you had if you had my amount of picks, or not even my amount, if you had 4 firsts,
it's a subtle flex.
Yeah, sure. I don't have anything else. Would this be different if he was asking for picks in return?
Absolutely. Yes, 1,000%. And that's a great question. Just because right now I've been trying to sell my picks. I have been trying to buy players. I believe in Brandon Ayuk now. So I sent 2 firsts for Brandon Ayuk, got denied. I talked to you guys openly about Puka Nacua. So yes, I would take 4 firsts and give it for Justin Jefferson. And I'll be honest. Now, if we're talking maybe 2024 mid to non-playoff
I was
teams,
just about to say,
still-
does the year matter?
Yes.
25 first, absolutely. That's getting shipped off. But 24,
Yeah,
what's the
I
max
would think
24 you would send then for Jefferson?
probably 4 firsts. In
If he
24.
can win a championship, Davis, if it guaranteed you could win a championship,
That's what I'm saying.
you would do
Yeah.
it. And that's the difference. Is
See,
that
But those players that yes, so the players do carry that value because Chris Olave, I do believe in. And guys, to be quite honest, and I just need to vent to you guys real quick. I don't think I've got the opportunity to grieve and to mourn the Garrett Wilson wide receiver 3 in Dynasty season that was going to be happening. And it just
thoughts and prayers.
I have not moved on from that. And I'm still holding on to, okay, guys, at some point, Zach Wilson's going to figure it out. And I'm a complete idiot and I'm in denial, but I'm going to stay in there for a specific reason, because in my mind, I'm telling myself, no, don't do that deal. Garrett Wilson will be Justin Jefferson next year when he has Aaron Rodgers. And so that's genuinely the real reason I haven't done it, because I'm just still in complete shambles about it.
I hear you. Going back to Justin Jefferson really quick, I would say I am all aboard of him missing the entire season. I do not think he comes back. I know it's contrary to what you said, Davis. I think there's multiple factors at play here, right? And to be completely honest, I'm concerned about Justin Jefferson's long-term dynasty value. I'm not saying I'm worried about him falling outside of the top 2. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about his consistency because
like his
Kirk's
production?
not going to be the consistency in his production, because Kirk's not going to be there next year. There's going to be a different offense that's going to be implemented, whether that's with a rookie quarterback, they go and get someone. Kirk Cousins isn't going to be there. And I do believe Justin Jefferson is quarterback proof. So I'm not saying he's going, like I said, he's not going to fall out of top 5 or top 10. But I am a little worried that he's not going to be the Justin Jefferson that we've gotten used to. And I think he'll get a bag. Does he get a bag with Minnesota? I think so. They have to kind of build around him. They have no choice to do so. But he has nothing to prove to anybody else. Why would he come back and risk getting injured or doing, like, if he comes back and hurts his ankle worse, or if he tears an ACL, God forbid, or whatever, like, that just diminishes his value. He's smarter than that. If they're not in contention to compete, if they're not going to pay him before he gets back on the field, then why would he come back and play? I think the only chance that he gets back on the field is if they offer him a contract and he signs that, and that's the only reason that he would get back on the field.
So something I would ask you to that, though, like, so you're telling me that you're in we're in a day and age where, people tank like subtly, like
I'm not
I feel like we all thought that but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the NFL, the Cardinals. We all thought that they were going to tank, and then Josh Dobbs comes out here and they traded a 4th rounder to get Josh Dobbs so that they could be competitive. He's in a room with 50 other guys, and they're going to war every single day. And these guys now know 6 weeks later, your body is healed and you're just going to sit out. Like that to me,
it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that blatant. I don't think it's that black and white. I really don't think so. I don't think, like we saw it last year with D-Hop on the Cardinals. Like we've seen it in the past where it's not as blatant as, oh, you're
Lamar
injured
Jackson.
or you're healthy and you're not going to play Lamar Jackson. Like we've seen it. Guys milk it. Like it's not as black and white. And I'm just saying, to me, my main point in saying that I think Justin Jefferson's value is going to take a hit is, to me, Jamar Chase is the wide receiver 1. There's no question about it right now.
I want to translate. Okay, hold on. Jamar Chase is the wide receiver 1 because of this injury. I want to give it back to you. That you snuck it in at the end there.
Yes, no, yes, and it's not because of the injury. This has kind of been a lingering thing for me because he didn't get that contract from Minnesota. His future is a little ambiguous. We know that Jamar Chase is going to be with Joe Burrow. Despite what Jamar Chase, how he started the season, despite how Joe Burrow started the season, we saw what they were last week. Like, and T. Higgins is on his way out potentially. Give me all the Jamar Chase as the wide receiver 1 overall. If it came down to it, I am taking Jamar Chase at the age, at the opportunity, at the offense that he's in over Justin Jefferson all day.
No, that's really good. And what I would say is I wanted to do a little Dylan translating because I was like, wait a minute, you said he's not going to fall out of the top 2, but you're worried about his value. Value is a bit of a buzzword. Dylan, when you say value, you're always talking about what they produce on the field. That's why you hate a trade calculator. When Davis says value, he says, what are the markets
What
doing?
can I get for them?
That's a good
What can I get for them?
Right. And so I think my point is, Dylan, what you're really saying is Justin Jefferson is a sell now candidate because of the injury and, more importantly, the situation his injury causes for the Vikings. If the Vikings don't have Justin Jefferson, just, if you give a mouse a cookie, this is the slippery slope thing. Just bear with me here. If Justin Jefferson isn't on the field, the Vikings' playoffs hopes, which were already slim, are now slim and actually none. Kirk Cousins, I don't think comes back. The Vikings are starting over and rebuilding, and they have to pay probably the highest wide receiver contract in history to keep him. So his landing spot is up in the air. Say what you want about Kirk. The guy hasn't not thrown for 4,000 yards or 30 touchdowns in like 5 years. The dude is automatic with what he can put on the field. We've seen quarterbacks affect a wide receiver's value massively. Davis, you alluded to it. You're grieving Garrett Wilson because Garrett Wilson has a Zach Wilson problem and not an Aaron Rodgers solution like we thought. There's ambiguity around Jefferson, and now you're not getting the superstar production this season. That screams sell now. I don't think he plays the rest of the year because, like you said, Jonathan Taylor, he put himself on the pup or the Colts put him on the pup. We don't know. Yeah. I'm thinking back to Lamar Jackson specifically. He literally did not play a playoff game because he was questionable, whereas if he had had a long-term contract, most people at the time said he would have risked it. So to me, whether or not Justin Jefferson plays the rest of the season, I don't think is the question anymore. The question is, do you have the guts to sell Justin Jefferson right now if you do own him? And that's an entirely different conversation to get into.
I don't think
saying sell Justin Jefferson.
I wouldn't say sell Justin Jefferson. I would just be weary of like if you can get Jamar Chase. I was just about to say, if you can get Jamar Chase, then absolutely, yeah. Of course. But I think there's so much, like I said, the situation's so complex. And I think with Justin Jefferson, let's say he does come back, gets his contract. The odds of Kirk Cousins being on that team and him signing a contract are not likely. So even if he does come back, Davis, would you go and trade for him if he has Colt McCoy throwing to him? Because I'm pretty sure they went and worked out Colt McCoy.
Yeah. I think, I do think Jefferson can make any wide or any quarterback look good. Like, do you remember when D-Hop had
he's going to go down as the greatest wide receiver of all time. That's my opinion. I think when it's all said and done, Justin Jefferson will go down. I think he'll go down as the greatest wide receiver of all time. I truly believe that, dude.
No one's catching Jerry Rice. No one's catching Jerry Rice.
From a statistic standpoint, yes, I can say that. I get that. What I'm saying, just because the longevity and all that, but I'm saying Justin Jefferson, from a talent standpoint, I believe that he'll go down as the greatest wide receiver of all time. He's unbelievable.
I don't think there's as many YOLO accurate. Like Kirk Cousins is an accurate quarterback, and he's willing to throw it downfield and be accurate. Like you said, no one's had as many 4,000. Like I think it's going to be a different situation.
Justin Jefferson moves the needle in every league and in every league format, and your stewardship of him. He used to be set it and forget it. There is crucial time for every single Justin Jefferson manager out there. Last but not least, gentlemen, a player that I want to bring up, Devon Achane. Dylan, we were talking about this pre-show. This was one of the most polarizing players in the preseason, and every single person's position was correct. If you were of the opinion Devon Achane was going to be buried on the depth chart and struggle to find touches to start the season, you were correct. Devon Achane didn't really break out till like week 2. I think it was really week 3 when he erupted, right? Number 2, if you were concerned Achane's frame was too slight and he couldn't handle the NFL workload, he could struggle with injury. So far, that is also correct. But if you were of the opinion, and Dylan, I know you were, that Devon Achane could be the type of back who doesn't need a lot of touches and could be a hyper-efficient fantasy superstar, oh my Lord, he totally has been. I want to ask you, Dylan. I'm tanking. So for me, if I had Devon Achane, it's very simple. I'm just hanging on to him, waiting for next season. Mm-hmm. If you were making a championship push, partially because of the performances Achane was giving you, do you sell Achane now or do you hold? All aboard, overboard. Achane is a sell.
Oh, I'm overboard. I don't care what build you're in. I think we are the Dynasty exchange. I'm giving you a Dynasty perspective. hold on to Achane, especially just the running back landscape. I think you can do other things to go get a cheaper running back. Like if you need points, I mean, I know James Conner's hurt. If you can get an Emery DeMercado or even a Zach Moss, if you just need to get points, I wouldn't sell Achane. There's no point in selling Achane because you may be able to sell him for a first, but you're just rolling the dice on if it's a 24 first, you're not replacing a running back in the 24 class that Achane gives you. And he proved, and I see you making faces, Davis, the whole reason why I wouldn't trade him, how many running backs do you know come on the spot like that and can produce like he has? Like we said, the only reason between him and Gibbs, we said the only way that those guys are going to be productive is if they're efficient. Gibbs, he hasn't been efficient at all. And I know you're not selling Gibbs. I don't care what you say. He is in the gutter right now, and no one's selling Gibbs because of that. I'm not going to sell Achane because he popped off. There's no reason.
But that's the exact reason why you would sell him, because he's currently valued on keep trade cut as the RB4. So if you're telling me he and Bryce Hall are consecutive, then I'm absolutely selling him at that value, because that's telling me that I can get 2+ first for him.
You're not. No, KTC is not reality. I don't care. You're not selling Achane.
So dumb though. It is.
You're not selling Achane at the value that you can sell a Jahmyr Gibbs or a Breece Hall. Like you're not doing that. And
Dylan, I will say I have shares of Gibbs in other leagues. I have a Gibbs owner in other places. I will say this: Devon Achane has a tiny sample size. We're talking about 3 games here. While he is injured, while he's going on IR, and yes, he proved all the doubters wrong. He was unbelievable with what he did on the field. Do you really think that his life, like his career, is going to be 11 yards a carry?
I'm not listening. You're not listening. I said I'm not arguing that I'm arguing he's not RB4. I'm not saying value him like RB4. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he's a top 15 back to me, absolutely, but he's not RB4. What I'm saying is you're not going to trade him for RB.
That's a sell.
Thank you. That's my exact point.
He's not a sell to me. If you're a contender, why are you selling him? To roll the dice on getting a running back next year, a Trey Benson, a Travion Henderson, to try and get. None of those guys are the caliber of player that Devon Achane was coming out. So it's just not worth it. I don't see why you would roll the dice when you have a good thing going at running back. To what? Who are we trading Achane for right now?
Let's say the Josh Jacobs owner isn't competing.
No, Travis Etienne is easy. I'm trading by Devon.
You're not getting that done. You're not getting that done.
You absolutely are getting that done because keep trade cut is the fantasy community. I know you hate it. I know that it's frustrated you and hurt you in the past. Guys, I want to give the listeners some context into why Dylan is so hurt from keep trade cut, and also why the Davis tax or David tax, whatever it is nowadays, is in place. That exists because early on, I weaponized keep trade cut, and I got Dylan to make some god-awful trades with me. So now he is literally just scarred. From keep trade cut.
Listen, what I'm telling you is you're not getting that done. Achane just got put on IR. You're not getting Etienne for him. You're not doing it. Because he's on IR, you missed the window. If you were going to sell him at RB4, you missed the window. If you were going to sell him, you're not getting that return right now. What are you getting for him right now?
To a rebuilding team, absolutely you are. If I had, I would absolutely. No. Listen, I'm just saying from experience.
You would trade an Etienne on a rebuilding team?
Yes, if I was rebuilding it, I'm not saying me personally would do that. I don't know that I would make that value mistake. I'm just saying that there are teams that overvalue youth. Keep trade cut proves that to us. If he's at his peak value now, even though you love what you've seen, Dylan, the problem is not how you value him. You value him, I would say, correctly. But if there is an owner out there who truly sees him as the Dynasty RB4, I will take 3 games and ship him out.
See you later,
on
bud.
that. Yeah, see exactly. Ya. Davis, please. Yeah, please take this over. Are you all aboard overboard on making a splash for Devon Achane and selling him?
I've already given my take. Yeah, no, he is off my team already. And Dylan, that just speaks to you. Just got to put the work in. Find the owners in your league that are able to be coerced. And I
don't want to trade a top 15 running back that's in an offense that is built for efficiency. We've seen every single player in that offense, even a Raheem Mostert at 30 years old, continue to produce. A Jeff Wilson that is 30 years old.
Hold up a second.
He doesn't need touches.
Dylan, no. Let me finish my point here.
Yeah.
Let me finish my point, Dylan.
Go ahead, please.
God, you're pissing me off. Here's the reason. I'm not saying because it's a crowded room. I'm saying because I can go spend, to your point, a 2nd-round pick and get a Raheem Mostert and simultaneously get the same production while I trade Devon Achane away for 2 firsts. And you're saying that we can't get that.
You're not getting two first. I can
that just means
guarantee
that
you're
you're
not getting two
good.
first.
That just means you're not a good salesman and you're not a good dynasty player, and that makes sense.
Bro,
why you're
no,
1 and
I
4.
can guarantee you if you had Achane, you're not. He's on IR. You're not trading him for 2 firsts right now. He's technically the second running back. You can't even. I couldn't even trade Travis Etienne and Yacht Club for 2 firsts. What makes you think you're getting Achane? There's no chance.
Listen. Here's what to put a bow on this Achane conversation.
Thank you, Josh.
My problem dealing with your take is that you don't realize you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth, because the reality is there are foolish owners out there. Not everyone is going to have a stalwart opinion on every single offense. They're going to look at how a player performed. They're going to look at what the news says about them. And Achane, I believe, will play again this season, and he's going to have a chance to come back later in the season. There are plenty of franchises that overvalue youth. And if we're getting a trade calculator that everyone uses that says this guy is the running back 4, I couldn't trade. I had a conversation in a separate league. I couldn't trade Gibbs for Achane straight up. I was told that, end quote, today. I'm not panicking on Jahmyr Gibbs because it's only been 5 games. But if Devon Achane has moved up that high where an owner wouldn't get, I would trade Gibbs. If I was the Achane owner and I could get Gibbs, I would make that trade immediately. And the point you're saying, Dylan, is that, okay, Achane's a top 15 back. Okay, if you value him in top 15, what is his actual rank in your mind, Dylan? I'll use that example.
To me, I would say he's anywhere between 13 and 15. Like he's in that range for me.
Cool. I'm going to use real estate. All right. If I'm doing a fix and flip and I can buy a house at $350K and I'm like, okay, I want to keep it. It's going to rent really well. Maybe I'm going to hold it for a long period of time because it cash flows. We'll call that the production, right? I'm getting monthly rent. But if someone right after I buy it at $350 comes, hey, that house looks like it could rent really well, I'll give you $450 for it. Whether or not it was my plan to use the renter, it doesn't matter anymore. That is instant profit. I will take the $450 and then I will go buy another house that's worth $400 and do the whole thing again. That's why Davis, who I don't think knows football as well as you do, has a better team because he plays the markets better.
Relax.
Yeah,
I'll take the compliment. We can roll.
It's backhanded. Moving on, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to jump below deck to a very special episode because we have a very special guest. Appearing for the first time, another member of the Yacht Club who is not named Mike Smith, who is here to stir up a lot of trouble and make a very special announcement for those of you that want to go even further into the degenerate nature that is our league. Going below deck has always been, at least for me, one of my favorite parts of the show. The genesis of this show, and part of the reason Mike not only bought in, was because when he was in the van with me in Seattle, he wanted to be a part of not just Davis and Dylan, who he met on the phone. He wanted to be a part of the Yacht Club as a whole. So we have endeavored not just to tell a little bit of the story below deck this season, we have endeavored to tell the whole story of the greatest dynasty league in America. And here to help us do that is the first ever non-Michael Smith guest of the Yacht Club, Mr. Chef Brandon Hunter, the owner and founder of Glizzy and Poopers, the proud franchise. B. Hunt, always classy. How are you doing this fine evening? It's great to have you on the show.
Hey, I am the chef, and I can't wait to stir the pot. But dude, I'm great, man. I mean, I've been behind the scenes a little bit, so it's been fun to work with you guys. But dude, have a great glass of whiskey in front of me, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Love that. We talked a lot about telling the story of this league. And we started doing that the moment Mike joined the league because we were going to start a show where people could follow our league on YouTube organically. Mike's like, hey, let's make it the Dynasty Exchange. Let me teach you idiots how to actually podcast. But for you, you have some experience in the industry. And we got to talking. You instantly were like, Walsh, we need a website. We need a place where everyone in the world can come and get the full story of the Yacht Club. You've built it. What do you want people to experience when they come visit yachtclubdynastyfootball.com?
I mean, dude, I think we don't stand alone in how funny our group is. I know that there's a ton of groups that are similar, but obviously in the level of seriousness and comedy, I mean, very rarely do you get a group of friends. Obviously, you guys are a little bit different in scenario. You know, most of the people in the Yacht Club are my childhood best friends. But man, we have just spent so much time and energy and emotion. I mean, you can't explain the Yacht Club to anybody without letting them know that it is for real a 365-day commitment, a ton of emotional exhaustion. But I think the biggest thing is, dude, anybody that I tell about our league resonates with it to some extent or desires it, right? And so I think that's probably the biggest thing is, man, I think I think you hear about people with, teams in their league that are tanking all the time or don't stay committed. And obviously that's not a factor for us. And so I think we are kind of the gold standard for what a fantasy football league in general should look like. Granted, I also just think we have like the greatest personalities combined together. And so I think that's a big deal with the website. We just want to invite people into just the humor, man. It's like if the league took real form, we are the league. We just don't really have a taco per se. It's way more competitive than that. But I mean, I guess we do have a taco, but we'll talk about that later.
So I realize I ruined the announcement. Next Saturday, we are going to be launching yachtclubdynastyfootball.com. Did I get the domain completely correct? Yachtclubdynastyfootball.com?
Yachtclubdynasty.com. No football.
Oh, just Yacht Club Dynasty. Yachtclubdynasty.com, where you can go and visit not just my team, Davis and Dylan's team. You can meet the entire league. We've got bios. We've got a lot of stuff there. And immediately following this episode, we're going to be releasing an additional episode this week where we go fully below deck for an entire episode with B Hunt. But Hunt, I want to ask you this. You have had the displeasure of having myself, Dylan, and Davis kind of represent our league on the show for weeks now. Do you have any bones to pick, any complaints with the way we portrayed not just the league, but the teams as a whole? Do you feel fairly represented, or has this been fake news?
Oh, boy.
Bro, I feel like, you know that picture of D-Wade going like this off the backboard and LeBron smack? Bro, that's literally how I feel right now. Dude, you guys... Davis knows what's coming right now. Look at that little.
I actually don't.
He looks like a deer in the headlights.
I think you guys are doing a great job for the general sense. I think you guys are keeping it as broad as you possibly can. But I think what's funny is I have it pulled up. Like I got receipts on my computer because we need to talk about it. But the fact that Davis and Dylan can be in the same room and act like this is a professional relationship, all the while they're like being and moaning at each other in the group chat is bonkers to me. I mean, there's like, dude, the amount of like subliminal shots that get taken and subtweets that get sent between these two, it's like they look into this mic every single week and act like this is just normal business. Bro,
it's my guy.
Dude. There's so much stuff behind the scenes that you guys don't know. So it's funny being an outside perspective watching this, like, bro, we got to let the people know what's really going on.
What I'll say is what's funny is like you bring that up, and B-Hunt, you and I have a history as well. But it's funny because I like come across on the podcast, and it is my natural demeanor of like, I'm just kind of chill, laid back. But there was a point in time where B-Hunt could have swore I was just a hothead. He would always just press on, but Davis and B-Hunt both. So I just think it's funny. You're right. Like we get in here, and but like this is our personality, but it's just like in the chat, things just get spicy,
Yeah, I mean nothing spicier, bro. I mean it's a movie. It's if you get in the chat, I mean, you'll catch me so many times a day. Some people would be like, "Hey, what'd your wife say?" You're like giggling. I'm like, "No, my boy, just talking crap."
Just to give some context, many times behind the scenes, people like producers, and we've talked with Mike. He's like, "It needs to come across on the show that you guys are friends." And there's a lot of people with a lot of history here. B Hunt and I went to college together. Dylan and I have grown up together. Davis, I met through fantasy, and I would absolutely call my friend, no question. But a lot of these relationships, you're speaking to it. Dylan and Davis are more rivals than they are friends. Like they love each other. They don't like each other 9 times out of 10. Yeah, and so in the chat, they are yelling at each other. They are disagreeing all the time. But from the show perspective, it comes off like, oh, hey, yeah, no, I like your take. I like your take. And then behind the scenes, go ahead.
Who do I not get into like disagreements with though? I mean, that I think is the key thing. And guys, it just is who I am. And I don't apologize for it. But I wouldn't say Dylan and me are any different than me and you, B Hunt, or me and Josh. I mean, there's going to be disagreements, and like gentlemen, we can agree to disagree, right? No?
Dude, it's so different. It's so different. It's way different. You and I think at the initial, I mean, all of us are like, dude, who the hell is Davis? This dude is ridiculous. We all got 28 text messages from the last 10 minutes from this dude. Like, does he have a life? Who's his employer? Genuinely concerned for the well-being of whoever is involved in your life externally. Josh, I got to tell this story because I think it gives so much context to what I'm bringing to the table. Obviously, there's a lot going on. I'm throwing a curveball at the listeners. So Davis David, right,
Oh God.
has this thing where in the yacht club he does the power rankings that nobody asked for.
Oh, good.
And let me tell you, dude, like nobody asked for it. But this dude, I mean, he's so obsessive. Every Sunday night, he like rips out a list, right? Everybody gets wild about it. It's so biased. If I don't do a deal with Davis, I go down 3 rankings, right? People are paying him. Apparently, Mike offered him God knows what, but money to get moved up. So we have another character in our group, right, that felt the need that we need to have the people's rankings, right? Which is like, dude, we got to have competition for our news sources. We can't just have this monopolized loose cannon psychopath on the loose just dictating how we view our rankings, right? So, dude, like, I got this comment pulled up, and this is the stuff that I'm talking about with Dylan Davis. People's rankings come out. Davis hasn't said nothing. And Dylan says the explanation was respectable. The power rankings that nobody asked for are pure bias and emotion. Davis responds, but me moving you down a spot in power rankings that nobody asked for triggered you. Love it. Rent free. Dylan, not at all. I never said a word. You just love to think that you matter. Davis, I should become a real estate agent with the amount of equity I have in Dylan's mind. Dylan, you so saying that doesn't make it any more true. Davis, I'm a real estate agent. Your reaction says enough. Let me just say, like, this is so common in our chat section. Like, these two are doing this in public, man. Like, we're talking there's 18 other people in this chat. Like, can we get a text thread where you guys just do this privately? But they just have this thing, man, like watching you guys on camera. It's not the full picture.
No, here's the thing. The reason why there's no text thread is because Davis isn't like that in private. He's such a smoozer, and he'll come to you and like talk all sweet to you in private. But then when it comes to the chat, oh, that boy is just let
you
loose.
Took the first shot at me. Hold up a second. No, and Dylan is such a good. He does such a good and effective job of playing the victim after he takes the first subtle shot. No, Dylan, you take shots at people all the time, and then when people respond to you, you're like, "Oh, why are you being like that?" Like, bro, no. I live rent free in your head because I didn't make a comment, and then you brought up my power rankings that nobody asked for, and I'll reiterate, nobody asked for them, and yet everybody wants them.
No.
Single.
First of all, Bihan, thank you for bringing this up, Bihan. I love that you stirred the pot. You knew exactly what you were doing. And Davis, I rebuttal because I just don't take the passiveness and then the text on the side. So what do you want to do for this guy? Listen, I didn't mean what I said in the chat. Don't worry about it. I was just messing around. You're good, right? That's exactly how you are. So, right? I'm not the only one that gets that. So we'll lay it out there. Bihan, you are very. You did it on purpose. I knew you knew exactly what you were doing.
Well, dude, I think you guys were alluding to it in like the last segment, right? It's like, dude, you know there's tension underneath this, bro. It ain't all good and gravy. You guys are like that, dude, you got like a suit up top and underwear underneath. Like, dude, this is all a facade for how you guys really are.
Yeah, it's not about Devon Achane. It's not about Justin Jefferson. It's about all the trades that didn't happen. It's about all
5-0 and 1-4.
Did you see what I mean? Exactly. It's exactly the case. Well, listen, we're going to actually spend however long we need to talk about the website. The launch is coming out this following Saturday, where if you want to dive in, not just more to the Yacht Club, but literally almost be in our group chat, please stay tuned and be sure to check that out. B-Hunt, we're going to stay on with you on the top of the hour. We have a special episode we're about to record, so tune in to that as well. Until next time, guys, this has been the Dynasty Exchange. Remember, value means something different to everyone. Go make a trade, make your roster better, and if you're a commissioner, make your league better. We'll see you next time.
Dynasty the king.